There's one thing on my mind, and it's the only thing that I can think about right now. It's literally in my brain and has been for the last few days. And it's 2 words. And I want to know if you can guess what they are.
For the last, what'd you say?
For the last few days, these 2 words have been at the forefront of my mind.
I don't know.
Chicken jockey.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. No, I guess I mean, I know that he says that in the trailer and stuff, but I missed that being like a meme thing until I started hearing people say it at the theater on Friday.
Are they doing it there?
Yeah.
I have seen so many videos of people's like theater experience. Like there's like rankings of like the best phrases from the movie, and it's like,
God,
obviously I Am Steve is like pretty high up there. Chicken jockey's up there. The other one is talking about the villagers, crush and loaf.
Oh, I don't even remember that part.
I haven't seen this movie, and like I know all of the lines. I know all of like the best bits.
Best, yeah.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. Yeah, I thankfully didn't watch it in the theater with other people, so. Yeah.
Did you watch a particular version online that may or may not have been finished?
Yeah.
Which is incredible that got leaked.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's very obvious in parts, but it's like I don't care. I don't want to support this movie. Even when I was thinking of like, okay, because we get free tickets working at the theater.
Yeah.
Like, but does that, like, even though I don't have to pay for it, is that still like, do they still get like a point for like that's still another ticket sold technically, even if it's not money?
It
and
contributes
this way I was
to the
like,
box office. You're like,
yeah, somehow,
no,
or like, yeah,
don't mark it.
So this way it's like, cool, yeah. I don't have to. There's zero support because I don't want to support it. I didn't even really want to watch it either, but then when I saw it was like up, I was like, okay, it's like I don't even have to do anything. It's like it's right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then in the inverse of all of that, I've seen videos of like, I'm sure you've been in a theater where this is the case, but sometimes like someone will come out and like give a spiel about something. I don't know. Sometimes like one of the employees will have to come out and like say something before the movie starts or whatever. Yeah. I've seen people like, there are people who paid money to be here, so please respect them and do not yell things out in the theater. And like people are like throwing drinks, throwing popcorn. Like I feel like, you know, like movie theater etiquette has been kind of a point that I've been like beating on like for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's like I saw it on TikTok, so I'm gonna do it at the theater. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's a Minecraft movie, so I don't know if I really. It's not like I'm going to see like the Zone of Interest.
That is true. Yeah.
Which, like, I don't know. What would you do? What would you say during like the Zone of Interest? You know, it's not like Chicken Jockey, but it's like
gas chamber. I may have cleaned up cum off of one of the seats. I was like, okay.
Oh,
this could be. I was looking at it, and the theaters between each set were fucking trashed. So like it took us so long, and I got to the seat, and I was looking at it, and I was like, do we sell junior mints? because it looks just like the inside of a Junior Mint. But I was like, but there's no chocolate here. There's absolutely no chocolate part.
Oh man, what? Well, I have heard that Jason Momoa and Jack Black 69 at some point.
Yeah,
in
they
time
do
in this
100%. Yes, they do.
So
all of the basically all the things you hear about this movie are true. Yeah, they do 69 at one point.
Maybe there's just like a Jennifer Coolidge fan that is just
maybe.
like, oh yeah.
I was trying to, because I was telling Declea, and I was like, okay, I'm probably not right, but it seemed like this, and then she was like, no, that's probably what it was. And I was like, no, I was telling you this to reassure me that it wasn't.
Please don't verify it. If you say it, it makes it real.
Because her thing was just like, there's a lot of people who like that shit, and I was like, yeah, you're right, totally could have been. Somebody got a handy in the theater.
Did you read about like the production of this movie, where apparently Jack Black was originally supposed to be like, he was just supposed to be a voice, and then he started playing Minecraft and he got like obsessed with it, and like
that's funny. Apparently
he became obsessed with lapis lazuli to the point where like he really wanted to say it in the movie, and like I don't think he does. But apparently that ore in particular in the game, he got obsessed with it and was like, I don't think he used it like in the game, but I think he just collected it while he was playing, and I don't know, it's really strange.
What the hell? Yeah, I don't think that's not in the movie at all. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of ThereWillBeDuds. This is episode 178. And I am your co-host TJ, and with me as always
I'm Nick,
and as always we watched a movie. That movie this week, continuing our Dud month. The movie this week is Axum, from anywhere from 1990 to 1993 ish. Directed by Michael Mfume. It is ostensibly about a guy who kills his family. This is Mean Man. And then his mentally ill son survives, or like they can't find him or something. But then he returns 13 years later. I don't know. I think it's the dad is the one. Yeah, the dad is the dad who kills his family and then kills himself. Returns 13 years later to seek revenge on. So is the idea is he? Does it mean like this is according to the opening crawl of the movie? But I'm thinking like trying to piece it together. Does it mean that it's like not revenge, but it's like, is it like he just really wants to kill his whole family, so he's trying to kill his son? Is that why he targets them? Because it's implied or whatever, or as much as it can be. That
I'm going to read the opening crawl because it is also full of like weird typographical errors. Okay, so this is the story. On a cold winter night in 1990, Mr. Mason, a mean and cruel towns space man, left his job for home, capital H home. After arriving home, he took a shotgun and killed his wife and kids. Then is Mean Man killed himself.
Is Mean Man, yes.
Then is Mean Man. So there's that. Then the next one. When the police arrived, they only found the bodies of his wife, daughter, and younger son. His mentally ill son, Harry, was not ever found. Okay.
Oh, they say the name of the son. I forgot that. Okay.
Legend has it he will return in 13 years to revenge his family deaths.
Okay,
not
yes.
avenge, but revenge.
Yeah.
And then the
it means
rest
like
of the movie,
like redo it. I don't know.
he's the rest of the movie is largely unintelligible.
Yeah, that is where the movie makes the most sense. It's laden with typos.
They gave you this opening crawl and then said, "You figure this shit out."
Yeah.
I wonder if like the DVD came with like an option for subtitles.
Oh God, that'd be that'd be neat. It would be interesting.
Yeah, because like when I watched this on YouTube, so YouTube has like a closed captioning feature that you can like kind of click on, and I think it'll like try to listen to the audio of the movie, and it'll kind of like, it's not perfect, but it's like
it's decent,
okay, for what it is. Running the closed captions on this, the only caption I would get would be like parenthetical applause. Like that's all it would say, because it could not, the audio mixing in this movie is so unbelievably bad that like you really have to be listening to like pick up on anything.
So what you got to say? All right, you know how me and Rob are. Yeah. Well, I don't know, I get this feeling that, you know, he's cheating on me. Oh, I could have told you that.
It was a weird experience to where like I'm like, I can't really hear it, but also I'm like, I feel like if I could, it would still be like incredibly hard to follow, because it feels like most of these scenes don't matter or connect that well, especially the first like 15-20 minutes. It felt like so discombobulated. It was so weird. Once they get to the cabin, it's at least like, okay, we're following the same group of people at this cabin. Okay, I got that at least. But the first, where they were still at school and everything, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. What I gleaned from that is I think there was like maybe 1 or 2 lines of dialogue that I could decipher, where I think someone said something about a party at a cabin or something. I think I heard like a couple of those words.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is just sort of like, every character in this movie is like is constantly yapping, constantly talking, constantly like at the beginning, it's characters just kind of like having casual conversation, but the camera like that doesn't cut ever, and it's always like from a distance, and you can like never make out.
He's like a real artist.
Yeah, this is like the oneers in this movie are crazy.
Yeah,
where the camera person goes like this.
Yeah,
in a stationary position. And then like they obviously had access to a choreography, like a dance group or something, because like that's like the next sequence. Yeah, it's just people doing like synchronized dancing, and like there's like a DJ playing music, and then there's like a Yo Mama joke contest where I could hear those. I could hear those like fairly clearly, but maybe it's because
it was literally like mic'd up, because they were literally like
yeah.
I think that and that would make sense why that one's sounds a little better, is because like I think because this was like made when this guy was like at going to college, and like a lot of the people in this are just his friends from college. So I think that that segment or whatever where there's like the dance and the diss battle, I bet just how that felt with like all those people. I'm like, this guy's not pulling like this kind of crowd for his movie, and I don't think he has the ability to like organize like a little event like this. So I'm guessing that was just something happening on their campus, and he just filmed it. Because did that have anything to do with anything else? Were any of the people in that scene any of the characters we saw in the rest of the movie? I mean, maybe, but I don't think so. So I kind of think he was like, oh, let me have a little like activity for the opening credits. So we're gonna so they're doing this. So it's like a cinema verite style thing, or like he's like an American Abbas Kiarostami, where you're like, ooh, which of this movie is real, which isn't. This is so artistic. And
it also like lends, from the viewer's perspective, it probably lends a little bit of credibility too, where you're like, damn, this is like a highly choreographed scene. There's it's clearly not just like this guy and his friends, because usually, like, I feel like whenever we watch like one of these kind of B movies and it gets to like a party scene, it's usually just like 7 or 8 people that are clearly like friends of the director, and they're
like
just
when
kind
they're
of like
when they're at the cabin and it's just the characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's usually, they're like, they've got a drink and they're like, yeah, woo, this is, Tiffany looks hot tonight. Like that kind of shit. But they're like, oh no, wow, this is like a real movie because there's like actual people, and like that looks like a real DJ's booth, and there's people dancing. And it's like, yeah, this was going to happen already, whether the cameras were there or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With DJ Slice 'em Up, Dice 'em Up, or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
That's why, if y'all notice, don't say that. That's why your mama got a mouth right here, 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 a mouth right here. And she stood, and she eat like this.
Yeah, I felt like I was, it's like watching, like a foreign film with no subtitles on. Because you just can't make out anything, but it's like, okay, so I'm just gonna go off of body language. That's where I went after a while. I'm just like, I'm not even gonna try to understand what they're saying, because at a certain point, I'm so far into the movie and have understood so little that it doesn't matter. It like matters even less now. So I was just like, I'm just gonna go with vibes.
Yes.
And I don't know, it didn't really help. It didn't really get, like, one way or another, it didn't really help. It still was like so fucking
I was
difficult
scrolling
to
a lot while I was like I was like not fully engaged. Really the only times I was engaged were some of the kills, and I will say, of all of the Duds movies that we have watched so far, I got a genuine, like, full, like, belly laugh cackle out of one moment in this movie.
Was it?
Yes.
I can't read it.
There's like this kill where like the weird grandpa or whatever is like the he raises the axe up to kill this guy, and there's like a really tight close up on this guy's face, and as he's screaming, someone behind him or off camera is wiggling his glasses up, and he's going ah, and it's like cartoonish. It's like a Looney Tune.
Yeah.
And it caught me so off guard while watching this that I was laughing my ass off at it. I thought it was so funny.
Oh, now you worried about me getting my wish. You just worried about me getting my wish. You worried about me getting my wish. Oh, ah!
There's kind of another moment where there was like, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of like that they're leaning in a little bit to it. And I think it's like when the killer first shows up, like I think a couple of characters are like having extremely awkward, weird sex in like a bathtub.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's like leaning on the bathtub, and she like kind of leans in to be all romantic, and he just kind of slides into the bathtub.
That is
like,
a little weird.
And I'm like, that cannot be comfortable or optimal for sex. Like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there's
really.
like you hear like a woman scream, and everyone kind of scrambles.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's when like the killer kind of shows up, and like then now we're in slasher movie territory.
Yeah.
But there's a part that I sort of liked where the killer like kind of kicks the door open and everyone kind of scrambles, and one dude at the very last person runs in and he gets right up close to the camera and he looks into it and he's just like, "Ah,"
yeah.
and then he runs off. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it's like a little fourth wall break, but it's again, it's like when it leans into like the Scooby-Doo, Looney Tunes, like wacky elements. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. I just wish I knew what anyone was saying.
Yeah, at least you can like understand the things there, I guess, because it's like visual or whatever. Or I thought there's a moment like right before the part where the guy gets right up in the camera where they hear the scream and they go outside and the killer's like, it looks like he's just like the hood of their car's open and he's just kind of bent in there like messing with their engine. I guess he's probably like cutting their engine or something. But
yeah,
it kind of just looks like a guy like working on their car. And for some reason that terrifies them. They run outside and they see, maybe it's because they're just like, oh, who is this person? But like, it's like they run outside and they're instantly like, oh shit. And then it immediately replays the same shot. Oh shit. And they run back
say,
inside.
Oh shit a lot.
I was like, what? It was so weird. Like they just go out and they're freaking out at this guy working on their car. I don't know. It's weird. This movie, Axum, is it's like a recut version of like when this movie was originally made. It was called The Weekend It Lives, and it's like a little bit longer. It's still under 90 minutes, but it's a little bit longer. And this was something where it was like some like bottom of the barrel like DVD distributor like found this movie and recut it into this. And so what I've heard is that the original one like it like has it's like a little bit more fleshed out. I don't know if the audio's any better because like who cares if it's fleshed out if you still can't understand anything, but also that it's supposed to be like it was made to be a little more like comical, like farcical almost. Yeah. Like, okay, that makes moments in this make more sense. But this cut, Axum, was supposed to just be like a horror movie, which just doesn't make sense. This only somewhat kind of makes sense if it's like a farce. Because then there's moments like one that I thought was like, I was like, okay, that's really weird, but 100% works if it's a farce. It's some, I can't even say like specifically, I don't know. It's some part where there's one girl running through the woods and she runs past the camera and she runs into the woods in the distance, and then it looks like the camera's just going, like it doesn't cut or anything because it's the same angle, same location, everything. The camera does not move or anything, but it's clearly a different take because the same girl runs past the camera again. It's like the same shot, like back to back. So it's like she runs past the camera and then she runs past the camera again, like she teleports back. I was like, okay, that's the joke, right? That is kind of like a funny thing, like a just but not if you're trying to recut this into like a serious slasher. That's like, so clearly whoever did recut this doesn't know what they're doing, because if they were trying to make this serious, they would have cut out the double, you know, or they would have cut out the fucking instances where you can hear the director saying cut or go.
14 minutes and 43 seconds when the two bums are running away. Yeah. Like as they're running, you can clearly hear him say cut before it goes to the next like dinner sequence. I was like, huh? Like I was kind of like vaguely paying attention, and as soon as I heard that, I perked right up. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's something different.
There's also a part later where there's a group of them, or there's a few of them. I don't know if it's like a huge group, but there's a few of them like running, and then the camera cuts, and it's supposed to be them continuously running. But you can hear they're like, ah, and then it cuts, and there's no noise. And then you hear someone go, "Are you guys ready?" And then, ah. So it's funny that you can hear the director off camera directing them, but then when anybody on camera tries to say something, you can't fucking make anything out. But you can hear the director way off camera perfectly. It's crazy.
This is like this is Space Thunder Kids. Someone Space Thunder Kids this movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense. I didn't read that IMDb trivia bit before this, so that makes sense now. I mean, obviously, like the audio is like still pretty bad regardless, but the fact that it was meant to be more of like a satirical horror movie, it makes sense because like those scenes are the ones that like made me laugh, or like I was like, oh, okay. There's like another scene that I notated that it was very strange, but the way that he did this made me laugh. There's like a scene where like he's in the bathroom and he's pissing.
Yeah.
He's just like, I feel like I just lost weight. And then he like opens the curtain and he looks outside and he sees like somebody outside, and he lets out the tiniest, highest pitched like, fuck. And I'm like, why did you do that? That was a very strange choice. But it's just like a little tiny squeak. And I don't know. I was like, it tickled me. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Another note I had was like, the Ungrateful Dead has better sound than this.
I made a note about Ungrateful Dead too.
Especially with like the dinner scenes. Like that was like the poker scenes for us. And they had 3 of them in this.
Yeah. Yeah, we only had 2, I think. Maybe we had 3.
Yeah.
I think it was 2. Yeah, there was a lot of like just thinking of like, okay, this is like done in school or like while they were in school. Like we didn't do it for school or anything like that. And just like done with friends. They just had they had access to this house somewhere or whatever, and
we both had $400,000 that we got.
Yeah, somehow this was that. I don't know if I believe that. Unless that was all for his like distribution. That's got to be what it was.
I think because his dad. So I don't know if we mentioned that.
Oh yeah.
The director is the son of a United States representative, Kwesi Mfume, I don't know if you noticed this. Did you go through the whole credits? I think I saw some of the credits.
Because in the special thanks, he gives a special thanks to U.S. Congressmen, MEN, Kwesi Mfume. So there's another typo.
So I think that part of the reason that this got any funding at all and was like made at all was the fact that like I think his dad was a sitting member of the House of Representatives,
right?
Because one of the little trivia tidbits says that Michael Mfume met filmmaker John Singleton, who was known for directing Boys in the Hood.
I saw that. Yeah.
Singleton helped Mfume set up interviews and screenings with Columbia Pictures, Disney, and Warner Brothers, hoping to get one of the studios as a distributor. So it was like he had connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why. It's
and like
because his daddy's a congressman.
Yeah. When you think of horror films in the 90s, you're gonna think of Michael Mfume. Yep. You're right.
I suppose so, yeah.
I do wonder what the original cut looked like. I would be curious to see that.
Yeah, because there's, especially when like you get to the kills, and there's like something that I noted was, and this was actually where my Ungrateful Dead note came in, because the kills were just so like lame for the most part, because you would get the one where the guy does the glasses thing, and then it just cuts to him dead on the ground. You don't see like the impact or anything. And that's where my note was just Ungrateful Dead is better. Like we made a better movie than this. Like,
we did.
And like it's not like great, but it's, you know,
you can clearly see that the lawnmower blade isn't going.
Yeah, right.
But god damn it, we still went and like Isaiah still like flailed around like he was getting lawnmowered.
We had like the blood and stuff. Like our kills, like we put a little effort into our kills. Like I love the one where
Crescent
like
Moon Kick.
Crescent Moon Kick is good, or like where I think you smack Mitch in the head with the it was like the case for like the poker chips or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we like had like a little, I don't remember if we had like a little, I don't think we had a squib. I don't think we had anything like that. But we had something on the side of his head that did like a But that's what I mean. Like we were able to do that. We didn't have $400,000. Like come the fuck on, dude. Like Jesus, you can hear us. You can fucking hear us in the movie.
Yeah. And like when we switch cameras to my parents' like hand cam, there is like hiss throughout the entire thing. And it's like you can still make out what we're saying.
Yeah. Well, the first one on his special thanks is God.
Yeah. Oh,
so there's that.
I think the one before that he says like this film is dedicated to my grandmother, which like yeah, awesome, great way to honor her memory. This piece of shit.
Yeah, right. Much rather take Who Killed Captain Alice, because that's like dedicated to his like grandma or something like that. Special thanks to those who supported me and all those who did not, and to all other filmmakers. So, hey, you're welcome.
That really encompasses everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then after that, you get like a little cleaner titles. I'm guessing this is the Axum credits because it's clearly it's a different like resolution and it's rolling, and it just ends with peace.
I did see that. The way that this thing was edited was also like very strange, where I don't know if whoever like compiled the footage and recut it like assumed that it was going to be like screened on TV or something, because scenes would like fade, like music would fade out and it would fade to black. And then it would like fade back in, like roughly in the same spot. And it's like, yeah, this is where commercial breaks would go.
Right. Yeah.
But like, it's a movie. It felt
like. Yeah.
And it happened a lot where like it would be in the middle of a kill, and it would just like, like the guy with the hatchet, not an axe, by the way.
I know. Yeah.
Or like, no, not the hatchet, the machete. Yeah. He had a machete. And I'm like, the movie's called Axum. What are you talking about? There's like a spot where he like hits him with the machete, and then like one of the guys goes down, and then it just like fades to black, where you almost expect to hear like the interstitial, music from like one of those shows, like Saved by the Bell or something.
Yeah.
Where you're like, this is like. Yeah, exactly. Like it's an after-school special.
Yeah, I wonder if it was. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if the actual reason is that I don't know if you did this like or if you know what I mean, but like on old like VHS like cameras, like video cameras, there was a setting where like when you stopped recording, it would either just cut or it would fade out. Like when you hit record, it would fade out. And I'm like, I wonder if he was just like filming with that setting and then like didn't realize it. And then he was just like, well, we already got the footage, so.
He's like, I can save some money by editing in camera. So he uses like the default like transitions. Cause I feel like even on my parents' hand cam, I think there were like wipes. There were like wipes and dissolves and like fade ins and fade outs. Cause I think if, like going back and like watching some of my dad's like home videos that he recorded of us, like learning to ride a bike or, 10th birthday party, there are those transitions there. And I'm guessing, like he just used one of those that was like built into the camera.
Yeah.
I wonder if IMDb says anything. Like, I highly doubt there's any information, because like sometimes
there's not a ton. There's a little bit.
Tech specs: 1 hour, 11 minutes, color, and mono. That's all we get. Okay. There were a couple funny lines. There was one that I liked that was like, "You're so fine, I could kiss your daddy's ass."
Oh,
that That was pretty good.
That was a line that I heard. Yeah.
There was a character named Breakfast. I don't know what he had to do with anything.
I don't
his
either.
Name was Breakfast.
I was confused. It was like I got that scene where because it was him and then it was like the white couple, and like the two guys go off into the woods, and I think they go to the house. I'm like, but the girl just stays back. I'm like, are they there just to? Is it just to have more like cannon fodder, like to have more like people die off? Because I don't know if this was like intentional, but I did think it was kind of funny that they did like the reverse. It would be great if this was intentional and also play into the whole it being like a farce or whatever. That there was one white guy. You have instead of it's a token white guy, and he's the first one to be killed. He's the first one to die off.
Yeah.
Like if that was on purpose, that was intentional. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, because they kind of had that scene where like they both go into this house, and he is like obsessed with finding a phone to call somebody to the point where he goes like upstairs looking for a phone.
Yeah,
and I feel like
right.
Breakfast was like he was kind of saying shit like he's just like this is that white people shit, like I'm not going in there, why are you going in there,
yeah, like
this is dumb white people shit, and then like he gets killed immediately,
yeah,
which I love. I love that like the killer like dials a phone number and then just like conks him in the face with it. But then it's like it's another one of those like they shot the killer like hitting him in the face, and then it immediately cuts to him like on the ground and his face is bloodied up. Like I don't know, like they were allergic to doing multiple takes and multiple angles. Yeah, because they're just like boom, and then boom, he's on the ground. It's like, what, you don't want to like try it again? Was that the first take, you hitting him, and then you're like, cool, got it, nailed it? Like you could have showed him hitting him, and then okay, let's reposition, get another like medium shot angle, hit him, so then you can see the guy stagger and like fall to the ground, and then cut to the shot of his head bloodied on the ground. It's like, this is so basic. It's so basic, like filmmaking, like conveying an idea to an audience, like, oh, he got hit in the face, like let's show it from multiple angles to get the impact. And it just nothing. No like sound effects really either. I feel like there's no like post-production like any of that shit. There's no like sound effects, etc.
I don't think so. I don't think there really is. It's all natural. Everything, natural dialogue, natural sound. That's it.
I kind of got a chuckle out of that spot near the end where the character was speaking in like a Jamaican accent, but then sort of switched into Irish a little bit, and then switched back to Jamaican, and then was like, why am I doing this? And then switched back to a normal accent. I don't know what that was about, but it was something different than what I had seen previously, so I felt compelled to notate it, because it's like anytime I hear like a line of dialogue that I can clearly hear and understand, I'm like, it's like I'm panning for gold, and I'm only getting like these little tiny nuggets, but I'm like, hey, this is different than like the soot and the dirt that I've been getting. Oh, I know. There was you get a flashback like randomly to the guy killing his family, and I thought the way that he killed himself was just like, it was very like Tommy Wiseau in The Room. The way he like he fell back, and that was very silly. And then so actually the last, I believe it's the last shot of the movie is it's like a tripod shot of a car going down the road, and it follows the car, and then the guy, like the killer, like walks into frame, and he just like walks across the road, and like this music like starts up, and I was like, whoa, that was the most like
like cohesive, like normal shot in the whole movie. I was like, it follows the car. It's stationary. The guy walks in, like it's like timed well, you know?
Yeah, there's
and like the
there's
way
some
that the
thought.
music comes in, it's like, okay, that's like a good spot for the music to come in. It's like it only took him literally the entire movie to do a competent shot. And then I legitimately like the credits song too, the song that starts playing there.
Some of the music like wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think
But
it was
like
probably just like all just kind of like whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if that was all like local stuff, like maybe people from the school or something like that.
yeah. But it was like, we're going to feature this like original music, and it's going to cover up any dialogue that you might possibly glean. Like it's
yeah.
just, it's like competing with like the vehicle in which you're supposed to tell the story of your film.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like it's not even like it was hard to make out, but there were so many scenes where where he would be playing, like it was clearly music that was like on an audio track. It wasn't like playing in the scene. It was like music
Right.
added to the scene and editing that was like just as loud or louder than the dialogue. So it was like he was actively making it more difficult to hear.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm thinking at the very beginning, it's like the scene of all of them in the school, and it's like, okay, that's fine. You've got music playing underneath. You've got the sounds of the crowd, etc. Like it sounds like you're really in the space. Like that's fine. You desperately need to ADR your leads or mic them up.
Yeah.
Like you can have like the room tone and the ambience of like people talking in school, because like that feels natural, and then you put the music underneath and you're like, okay, this is kind of like propelling the motion of the scene, like the song's kind of setting the tone, and then you need to like ADR your leads, and like they just don't.
Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like they weren't even wearing microphones. But then there would be scenes like there's the scene of the guy and the girl. It might be the one with that line that you said, "You're so fine, I'd kiss your daddy" or whatever. It might have been that scene. They're like in the woods, and there's like this stone like fire pit thingy in the middle of the woods. And the only reason that I could tell that they were mic'd up is like the guy like climbs up on the stone thing and like sits on it, and you hear him like crumple like the mic.
I did
like,
catch that. Yes.
You hear that? That's like the only audio the mic picked up.
You just caused me to think like this, to act this way. It's not even my fault. Look, what you gonna do? Come, man, you looking.
Also, I just did I don't know, this is just like the first link that I clicked, so who knows how accurate it is. But $400,000 in 1992 is worth $905,000 today. So you could have gotten some time at a studio to like do some ADR. Like with $400,000, like same with like After Last Season, which if we're taking that at face value with like his budget, what are you spending this money on? Because it's clearly like your friends. Like I guess you're gonna pay them out, but it's like like how much are they being paid out for? Like 15? It's 15 days. Also, is how long it took for them to make this movie. So it's just like, okay, you pay them out like a little bit, like, hey, I can give you like, $3,000 for like 15 days of filming for like 10 friends. That's like, that's 30,000, I guess, of your budget right there. What did you do with like the 370 of it?
Yeah. That's why it has to be, because it did say that it had like a brief run in like Baltimore theaters. So I'm like, he must have like just all of that went to like paying for like a spot at the theaters for like a couple weeks, like basically doing like a theater rent out, but like
yeah.
Imagine like seeing this in theaters too. What that would be like.
Yeah, because like culturally, the like B movies existed, but there wasn't that culture of like The Room where it's like, word of mouth would get out that is like, oh, this movie is like, it's bad, but it's like funny bad. I mean, I guess, I don't know, MST3K might have been in like 92. That might predate MST3K.
So. Yeah, I guess I'm not 100% sure,
but like, you know, there wasn't really that culture of like, let's all go to this midnight movie that's terrible to make fun of it. So it probably played to empty theaters most screenings, I would imagine.
Probably. I would imagine probably
or his
like,
friends and family.
Exactly. The ones who were like in this movie or like went to the school and were like,
yeah,
oh, maybe I'm in that. I'll go see it.
Yeah. It's like Dreamer with like the movie that Chloe was in.
Yeah.
Where like they immediately interview everybody afterwards and they're like trying to say something nice about it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it was a tribute to his grandma, which was really nice. Like that's the only thing that they can say about it.
Yeah.
I thought the bathtub sex scene was really original.
Yeah. Nobody would think to do that because, well,
it doesn't make any sense, but
yeah. Okay.
I'm good to move on if you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am surprised that we squeezed
that
like 40
juice.
minutes out of that.
For real, yeah.
I think you went first last time, so I can go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a lot of high hopes going into this. There were a lot of factors that were leading me to believe that this was going to be like one of those diamonds in the rough bad movies. It was directed by, written by, produced by, starring the same guy, which is usually a very telltale sign that we're in for something awful, but in the best way. And I gotta say, I was a little bit let down by it. It is, I mean, to be fair, it is recut from footage that some dickhead found in 2003 and like totally changed whatever the movie is or was supposed to be. So like, it's not really like the true movie as the artist intended. So I guess it's like a little bit of an asterisk there. But what we are presented is a dud for me. There was not enough like really funny, you know, so bad it's good type shit to like kind of keep it going. There were a few scenes that got me. The glasses scene in particular was a highlight. Any time like the wacky satirical horror movie that this was supposed to be was able to shine through, I enjoyed those moments while they were on screen. But for the most part, this is an unintelligible, garbled mess that doesn't really make sense, which again is hilarious because I feel like I pointed this out last week when we pulled this movie, that if you go to the Wikipedia page for Axum, there is a little note that says this section's plot summary may be too long or excessively detailed.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Which is the funniest goddamn thing in the world, considering that this movie, it has to be written by Michael Mifune. It has to be, because there are even like the weird little sort of the way that like the description of the movie is written. Harry gets up and grabs his machete, but not before Michael picks up a pitchfork and stabs him in the chest with it. Unbeknownst to them, as they drive away, Harry walks out, and it's written in very, very simple language to the point where it's just like, who wrote this? I need to know who wrote this. But that's so funny to me that the description is excessively detailed for a movie that makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a dud for me, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a dud for me too.
Yeah, it's again, it's like if it really, if you could just hear it, I feel like that alone could potentially like make it more interesting because it had some moments that were entertaining, but also it just seemed like it was like, man, this seems like not good acting. This seems like not good dialogue, but I can't fucking tell. So I was like, it seems like it could be, you know, good or bad in a good way, but you can't tell. So you're just left with like just a nothing.
Yeah.
That said, like I feel like in contrast with like what we've watched the previous weeks, I am still glad that it's not a comedy. Like it's funny because like on my like Letterboxd 2025 list where it's just every movie, it's not movies that come out that year, but it's every movie that I watch in a given year. I was like looking and I'm like, yeah, I guess like I have this at the bottom of that list, like the very bottom. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's the worst one I've seen because like the other ones at the bottom of the list are the ones that we've just watched. Like Norbit is right there.
Movie 43 going 43
overboard. Yeah, those are like right above it. I'm like, I guess this is technically worse, but then I'm like, but I feel like I was like, in a way, I was like less tortured watching this because it was just, I didn't have to sit through just terrible comedy. And also I was like, you know, gun to my head, if I was forced to watch one of these again, of the ones that we've just recently watched, I'll say that. I'm like, I mean, it would probably be movie 43, but between this and like, because movie 43 had some redeeming qualities, you know, for me, or like some bits that I enjoyed. But like this versus Norbit and Going Overboard, I'm like, I might watch this first, even though I think it's worse. Because I feel like at least I could be like, okay, if I'm trying, there's at least like a little game to this where it's like I can try to listen more and maybe I'll learn more about the plot. So there's a little bit more to like gain from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is probably the worst one that we've watched this dud month, but and it is definitely a dud, but yeah, in a way it felt like a little bit of a reprieve from what we've been experiencing.
Yes.
Yeah. Couldn't recommend it at all though.
Not really.
So yesterday was the end of the most recent season of the White Lotus.
It was.
Which happened. And what do we think? I can't remember if we talked about it on the show yet. I know that we talked about it, but like on the record.
We talked about it we talked about it off the record because for some reason I thought you had said that like you weren't caught up on it or something like that. Like we were at like an Oscars party or something, and I wasn't sure if you'd actually been watching it, but you were.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this season quite a bit. I think I remember you saying that you were a little bit more lukewarm towards it.
It's just I really, really like the first season, and the other seasons are just kind of like, eh. I think in the end, I like this one more than the second season because other than Tanya, I couldn't tell you like barely anything that happens in that second season. And also, I guess
they do the Godfather thing. They go to where her car blows up or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of so, like I kind of remember that. I kind of remember like I don't know. And then I also, I mean, maybe it also plays into just like I just think innately like I'm more interested in like Thailand than I think Italy is really boring. So also just like location wise, that one wasn't as interesting to me.
This one it felt like they like stayed at the resort more, where I feel like in the second one they kind of like they went on that little excursion to Italy. They kind of like, and then they like kind of branch out into the city, and you kind of see the lives of like the two like prostitute girls that are like kind of always like around, like basically trying to like seduce the clientele or whatever. I think what I liked about season 3 the most was like I liked the Ratliff family, and I liked the three women's dynamics. I thought like they did some cool stuff with that. I thought Carrie Coon's speech in like the last episode was pretty good, like a sort of, I don't know, because talking to Chloe, who was a woman, like the way the sort of like female relationships, like sometimes how they can go, I think that dynamic is like a pretty common experience that a lot of women like deal with.
Yeah, it seemed natural in that way. Yeah.
And so there was like a little bit of catharsis there with Carrie Coon's speech. That's just like I love you guys, and like this stupid bullshit is like, basically like it shouldn't harm our friendship or whatever. I don't know. I thought her like speech was really good.
I did. I was kind of like waiting for it because she's one of the main characters in The Leftovers, and I was like, I know it. Come on, bring it home, Carrie. I know she's got it. I know she's got the goods. I know she can do it. And then when it was like getting in that scene, I was like, hell yeah. I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna do it. And then
I don't think I've seen her in The Leftovers yet, because we haven't finished the first season.
She's Nora. I think she's in the first episode. She's the woman who lost her entire family. Like her husband and her two kids.
Holy shit, I did not like put that together.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. I gotta get back into that show.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I like that was like there was a happy ending too. That was like probably the happiest ending. And
it
seemed like that one was kind of heading for like a very sad, like bad ending, like a fallout, but I like that it kind of came back and they were,
when it showed her like looking at the other two in the pool, like laughing and like taking selfies, I was like, oh, she's just gonna leave like right now. She's going to pack her bags and just dip and be like, you know what, I don't belong into this friend group, and this is like my lot in life, and I'm just gonna go. So I'm glad it didn't end up that way.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I'm most bummed about is I feel like Jason Isaacs was kind of underutilized throughout this whole thing, where his character was basically kind of like taking pills and being like lobotomized for the entire time.
Yeah.
Because like in the last season, the last episode, when he's spoilers for the White Lotus if you've made it this far, when he's like about to like poison his entire family, and the lead up to that I thought was the funniest shit in the world, where he's like basically polling all of his children if they could live without money, and then being like, I think he was so primed to spare Piper because she has this very like altruistic, like, I don't need these earthly things because I'm going to like live off the land, and like the way that they did Piper at the end, I thought was so perfect. That like she's this perfect embodiment of like a good little lib who's just like, she comes from a rich family and she acknowledges that, but she doesn't want to be a spoiled, drug addicted like socialite like her mother, so she's going to become a boot. Like literally, what is the exact opposite you can do of being like a rich kid in like South Carolina, go to Thailand and like stay at a Buddhist school for a year, and really stick it to your parents, and she can't sweat it for one night, immediately folds. And but like she does this performance, it reminded me of like something out of like Bodies, where it's it's so pathetic that I'm so privileged and I shouldn't, like, it's this sort of acknowledgement of your privilege, which like it's like, oh well, if I acknowledge it, that absolves me of it, but I'm still going to like utilize it and use it and take advantage of it. And so her turn to like even like her clothes change, where she was like wearing these like sort of like long flowy white clothes, almost like pure and like I don't know, like, and then like she's wearing colorful shit and she's going shopping with her mom immediately afterwards. I don't know, I thought that was like a great scene, And then her and Parker Posey hug, and it cuts to Jason Isaacs, and he's just like,
his look was so fucking good. I think both of the parent acting in that, like when Piper starts like saying, "Oh, I hated it," that when she kind of like confesses, Parker Posey has such a look of like
pure
dominance.
delight.
It's
like,
so
I
perfect.
knew it. I know who you are.
It's so perfect. She's just sitting there like leaning back, like she's like,
yeah,
and then his reaction to their hug was that was killing me. That was so good.
You see the wheels turning,
she gives
and
him
he's
the
like,
a thumbs up.
He's like, you gotta kill Piper now. like he makes the decision right there.
Yeah. But I would agree that like I would almost extend this to like certain other aspects too, where, and I wonder maybe like each season has gotten an episode longer. Like maybe they should just be 6. Maybe they need to like not have as much time, because I felt like there was a lot of just like Jason Isaacs. It's just like he's kind of just doing the same thing the whole season.
Yeah.
And then Walton Goggins is just like, it sucks because like I really like these actors, and I think at least performance wise Walton Goggins did a little bit more, but character wise he's just kind of like hemming and hawing at the resort for 5-6 episodes, and then he goes to Bangkok. Yeah, and then he goes to Bangkok, and then God, the most telegraphed like twist
I didn't
ever.
like
that,
it.
Like,
I did not like it.
Of course that's his dad. Of course it is. And like the way, like every way that was handled was like when he goes, they get to the house and he finally meets Scott Glenn. And then he like has him at gunpoint, and then he's like, it's just so weird that he's like, it's like he didn't know his dad, and like I wish you got more of like what that meant to him, because he's just like, oh, this guy fucked up my life. Like he keeps saying that, like, you fucked up my entire life, and I hate you, and I have to like get revenge in some way.
Yeah.
But it's like, but how? Why did he fuck your, like, why do you have such determination? Because your mom told you that he killed somebody that you didn't even know?
Yeah.
And like, I mean, you're here in Thailand. I don't know like what exactly, like, seems like you got some money. Like,
yeah.
What exactly does he have against this guy so badly? Like, I get that he killed his dad, but it's just weird that like he's so determined.
Yeah.
And then he does it, and then he gets there, and then he like lets him go. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. That he's like, I got here, and he said like, oh, he's just like a frail old man, and I couldn't kill him. But he seems like he was happier for like that episode or whatever, where he's like, I kind of came over my trauma or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna be happy with Chelsea and stuff. But it's still the part about that bothered me was how like sloppy it was. They just go and they party back in Bangkok. It's like, who's to say that they're not gonna like fucking send people after you?
Yeah, and she's like, they're pretty affluent.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and then they go back to the White Lotus where she knows that he is, where Kunsutada knows where he is, and he's just, I'm gonna stay the rest of my stay here. Like, I mean, thankfully they didn't just like, I mean, it still ended badly for him, obviously, but like,
yeah,
they were more or less going to just kind of let it go, because they were like, like Scott Glenn was just like, get out of here. But they could have pressed charges, they could have had him arrested, they could have had their thugs do something to him, because he was just there. And like, it's weird how like dumb he was about the whole thing. And then Scott Glenn is like, oh yeah, I remember your mom. Yeah, she's like a slut and a liar.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, he's fucking telling you that he's his dad. He's your dad. He's telling you that. But then he goes back to Chelsea. He's like, he insulted my mother. And like, dude, come on. It was just so dumb. And like, that's what leads up to the, the shootout, the thing at the beginning of the season that they always do where somebody dies or whatever. And yeah, it was really weak. And I kind of had a feeling it was coming too. I feel like as soon as Chelsea used the term amor fati, I was like, she's fucking dead. She's so dead of this episode. And then she died, and that was a bummer. She might have been like that had to have been intentional because she was like
she was like infallible as a character.
Yeah, she was like the best character. Like she
never gave in to like the temptation with like Patrick and sorry, I keep calling him Patrick, but Saxon. Like I don't know, she remained like faithful to Rick the entire time. I think she had like the most like
she was like really in love with him. She's like really believed that they were soulmates and all that.
Yeah. Which I thought that scene with Saxon was like pretty affecting, where like he's like talking, he's like, oh yeah, I read the book and everything. She's like, oh, you read the book? And then like she's like talking to him about it, and then she sees Rick show up and she gets up and leaves. And as she's embracing Rick, like Saxon turns and looks, and he has like, you can see that like he's starting to like well up with tears. And it's like, I thought that was like a good little moment of like character development for Saxon, who up until then has pretty much been like he was kind of a one-note character, but like it was kind of by design, where he was like, I'm the NBA macho Andrew Tate. Like, if I don't have money and pussy, I'm nothing kind of guy. And then his world gets rocked several times throughout this.
Yeah.
But it's you basically like by the end of it, you see like a shift in like the Ratliff children a little bit, where Piper was the more like studious, bookish one. And then now she's sort of like unmasked herself as like just as spoiled rotten as her mom. And then Saxon, who was like the very materialistic, like money and power guy, is like reading books on
spiritualism or whatever.
Yeah. And then Lachlan, I guess, has learned not to be a people pleaser, I guess. I don't know. I really thought that they were going to kill him off, and I was like,
I did too. I was kind of like, I don't know if it was like, if they would have done that, it would have taken away from the whole Rick thing. Like maybe it would have been, maybe they were like, it's too much if we have like multiple different death things. But yeah, when he was gonna like kill the whole family, I was like, okay, all right, do it, bet.
Yeah.
And then he walked back. I was like, okay, all right. And then Lachlan, like there was like the bit left, and I was like, of course Lachlan's gonna try to get that because he wasn't. And then when he was started to die, I was like, all right, bet. I was totally cool with any of them like dying. I was like, I feel like the ones that had arcs had them finished. Yeah, I feel like Lachlan was like not very interesting, so I would have 100% been okay if he just died. And it would have been kind of like, Tim just made his whole situation, infinitely worse by causing the death of his son.
The one that he wanted to spare, but he had that conversation with him where he was like, do you think that you could live without like a house or or money? And Lachlan's just like, yeah, I think so. And like Tim's like really relieved by that, but it's like, it's Lachlan. He jerked off his brother because he thought it would make his brother like him. Yeah. He slept in like a Buddhist like monastery or whatever with his sister because like he has no identity of his own. And so whoever he's around, he's just trying to constantly make happy. So it's like, who knows if he would have actually like believed that, but his dad was asking him, and he thought that he knew what he wanted his dad to. Yeah, he knew what his dad wanted him to say. So he said, exactly. "Oh yeah, I think I could do that." And so it's just like he's a people pleaser, and like that's kind of his cardinal sin.
Yeah.
The Greg shit was funny. The whole like cuck fantasy that he had
Yeah,
There
that
was, like-
last push in on him when he winks at the guy. It's like, God damn it. That
There's,
fucking
like,
bastard
another-
got away with it again.
Yeah, there's like another scene in like I think it was the episode prior. Yeah. Where is her character named
Chloe?
Chloe?
I think it's Chloe. Yeah.
She's like basically propositioning Saxon to be like, hey, look, Greg has this thing where, you know, he like would see his parents having sex as a kid.
Yeah.
And so like that's like a weird thing that's like tied into like his concept of sexuality. So, you know,
it totally did seem like a setup, like he was gonna kill them or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
like that. But then you know, you see her talking to the guy at the end, and I guess that really is a thing.
But holy shit, when like there's like it's kind of a similar shot to the last shot of Greg, but when she's talking to Saxon about it, they're like Saxon's like, oh, what? No. And then there's like another cut where you just see Greg sitting like alone under a tiki hut, just like watching them stone faced.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
It's like Greg's a bastard piece of shit person, but man, some of his stuff is so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. What's his? Oh, then they got to talk about the whole like guy talk thing, and I don't even know the girl's name.
Mook.
Mook. That's right.
Yeah. She sucks. She's a terrible
yeah,
person.
she does suck. She fucking suck. That was weird how that like kind of came to light. She did really suck by the end of it. And then like it's weird. I know that the show has never been, since the first season, it's never been one to have like, you know, it's the ending of all the seasons is always like muddled, and it's not just supposed to be like, you know, purely good ending, purely bad ending. It's all kind of like murky. But I felt like there was so much murkiness with like everybody's ending, more or less. There's a couple that were like mostly pretty happy. But like you get to him and he's like, you just get it in like the montage. I don't really think you get any more dialogue with them, but you see Mook like hugging him, and then he's driving Kunstutala in her car and stuff. I'm like, he's smiling. I'm like, this is weird. It made me feel really icky, and maybe that's the whole point of it. But like, he's a Buddhist and he doesn't want to like hurt anyone, and then sure he shoots the guy that just killed a few people, but he shoots a guy who is currently unarmed, holding somebody who didn't have anything to do with it, and may, to Guy Talk's knowledge, she may have still been alive, you know?
Yeah.
And that's who he killed. That's like his hero moment. And it's so, again, maybe the point is that it's like not a real heroic moment, or maybe it's not supposed to be celebrated.
Shooting an unarmed person in the back.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like there's even a conversation where she's like, oh, well, you know, self-defense, like you have to be able to defend yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't even a situation of self-defense. Like, yeah, he did just like kill somebody, but he is like clearly like unarmed and not really a threat to anyone else anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's he totally got corrupted by this person who doesn't care about him really.
Mm-hmm.
She only really cares about like your status.
She's like she wants to be a trad wife.
Yeah, like, pretty much. Like, of course she wants to be fought over and like have people killed over, because it's like she doesn't have to do any of that shit. It's all done for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I feel like of all like I feel like I've referenced it a few times, but like the Graduate ending, I feel like if you had kept the camera rolling on Guy Talk in the car, it would have gone from like all smiles to just like,
oh yeah,
you know, that sort of like realization of like, oh, okay, this is where I'm at now. Like I got the girl, but at what cost? Like I sold my soul. Yeah, the sound of silence.
Yeah.
I do really quick want to give a shout out to
Billy Preston.
Sam Rockwell
Oh, yeah.
for like being kind of the MVP with his character. I laughed so hard, and I wonder if it was scripted this way or if it was a Sam Rockwell-ism. But like when Rick is leaving the hotel and Sam Rockwell's is like trying to get him to like, he's like, no, we got a party, come back, the girls are about to be here. He's like, he runs down the hall and then he does like a little Pratt somersault down the hallway and then comes up to Rick before he goes to the elevator. But it's so great because he's like wearing like a little banana hammock and like just completely like coked out of his mind.
I thought he was completely nude down there at first. Like, are we getting another dick in this season?
Yeah, right. Dude, there's been so much dick in the Righteous Gemstones too, and like these shows are airing back to back. I'm like, so much penis right now. Yeah, spoilers in season 4, Walton Goggins has a prosthetic. It's not his real penis, but you see Uncle Baby Billy's hog a couple times in the season. And there's a great line. In the season, dang. There's this great line where he's like talking to like his much younger wife, and he's just like, who wants to suck an old man's dick? He's got this like affectation to his voice, where it's like a little Colonel Sandersy. It's great.
Yeah. No, I referenced Billy Preston because that was the also
song
made me laugh. Was like this long montage with like kind of like sad like emotional swells, and then it's like long tracking shot on the boat, and then like, all right, cool, and then I was like, the credits going, I'm like,
yeah, it's a little jaunty for what we just saw, kind of like the Baby Blue playing at the end of Breaking Bad, where it's just like
kind of
you know, it's like, oh, this is a little classic Rocky for this.
Yeah,
a little too upbeat.
I think honestly, I feel like that's one of HBO's like most popular shows right now. I feel like it's one that like whenever it's on, it's always talked about.
It dominates like online discourse. Like people talk about this shit and like theorize. Same with like Severance. Like when Severance season 2 was going,
that's another
like
big one,
everybody was talking about it. Like these, I would say like season 2 of Severance and season 3 of The White Lotus have been like probably 2 of the most popular shows that have been like on.
Mm-hmm. So that said, I feel like with that, they cut Succession. That one didn't go super long, so maybe they won't. But I was like, this feels like one that they could, with it being an anthology and stuff, they could keep doing as long as they feel like it. But whenever they do end it, the final season has to be like the White Lotus as a franchise. Like the hotels are like
shut
bankrupt
down
and going out of business because people keep dying at them.
Yeah, for real.
It's like,
I was like, damn,
point,
they got
like,
on the boat pretty fast. They got on the boat pretty fast after just like a dude got shot. Like 3 people died.
Yeah. I totally thought, speaking of too, we talked about that a while ago. I totally thought that one of the girlfriends was going to get shot there too. Just like
like catching a stray.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised there weren't any other like, you know, random casualties. I like that Fabian's like the last thing you saw of him was that fall into the water.
Again,
that was a good ending for his character.
Yeah, and like, dude, I feel like it was intentional because in the previous 2 seasons, I feel like the hotel manager character is like pretty integral to the story. Where Armand is like, he's huge in the first season, and then in the second season,
that one girl, that one lady,
she's like being seduced by one of the prostitute girls, and there's kind of like that arc where she's like, she's gay, but she doesn't really like, she's not really out about it, but also she's like, I'm the hotel manager, so I have to be professional, blah 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 blah. Fabian is like the most meek, like pathetic kind of guy. To the point where like I feel like it was built up for a few episodes that he's just like, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna do a song tonight.
Yeah.
And then his song was about how home is home, even if it's shitty and cold like Germany. We heard 2 lines of his song, and then it immediately cuts away. The show is just saying, like, I don't give a shit about this. So,
Yeah.
so then, his
Yeah.
last shot is him, like, doing this huge pratfall into the water, like, oh!
Yeah.
People pointed out also that if you watch that scene again, they're like, oh, you can tell that Carrie Coon's character lives in New York City because she books it out of there.
Oh,
Like,
does she?
she like faster than Jacqueline and like the other girl. She like the other girl like kind of turns and looks and like kind of like, oh my god, or like, are you okay? Lori, gone. She is so
Nice.
fast out of there. It's like,
funny.
yeah, she lives in New York City and she's like seen some shit, so she like dips.
That's funny. I didn't notice that. Yeah, I'll have to, after talking about this again, I'll have to like skip around that last episode again. I gotta see that scene with Parker Posey and Jason Isaacs' faces again.
Parker Posey, kind of like a makeshift Tanya for this one, kind of like embodying that
sorta.
like I'm rich and I only hang out with a certain crowd of people kind of thing.
Yeah. I got to see
I
Tanya
just like Parker
today.
Posey and
Yeah.
oh yeah,
In the
With her-
Minecraft movie.
with her villager.
Yeah. Parker Posey's good. And stuff.
Yeah, we just watched Best in Show, which has both Parker Posey and
Michael McKean.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh yeah, and Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That
I
movie's
went to
great.
Michael McKean, but
That was one of the funniest
that's
movies.
good.
Like, I've seen it before, but we watched it again. I showed Chloe, and she like fell in love with it immediately.
Nice.
Like all of the like Midwestern rage that is under like with Parker Posey's character and like her husband.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
I think we covered most of the characters in season
I think
3.
so. Yeah.
I don't know.
So, like, the major
Overall,
arcs.
I think I liked it quite a bit. It's more of like a vibes show for me, where I'm just like, I feel like I'm on vacation with them. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's not moving at like a breakneck pace, I'm like, that's fine. I'm enjoying, like, the cinematography's nice. I'm taking in the scenery. The music's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I was pretty satisfied with it.
I think in the end, mostly, like I said, it was the biggest letdown was the whole Walton Goggins thing. Just because, like, I like him as an actor. It just felt like it was like a lot of like empty, just like nothing. But most of the other storylines were like, yeah, pretty well wrapped up, and like, yeah. I also just like enjoy the mood of the show. But I do think that, like, I would say that I would like it to be I just think that the season needed to be a little tightened up. I think that's a thing that it needed to happen.
Yeah.
So I think
I can agree with that.
it doesn't necessarily need to be like a breakneck pace or whatever, but I don't feel like the first season has a breakneck pace, but it is like there's always development at the end of each episode. It feels like everybody's in a different place by the end of each episode. And it's like, it still kind of feels like, you know, not a whole ton of like big things happen until like the last episode or maybe the second to last episode, but it all feels like it, you know, gets there naturally at like a good pace, a good speed and everything. And these ones this one, that's like my biggest overall complaint, is that like just kind of felt like it was treading water a bit more.
I could agree with that.
I got to the end. It was good. Yeah. Yeah. Again, overall better than the second season pickup. And I'm always, you know, I'm like, oh, where are they going to go next season? I like travel shows in a way.
Yeah. I did see somewhere that I think Mike White was toying around with the idea of like a White Lotus like super season, where it's like a mesh of characters from all 3 seasons at one place.
Yeah, they could.
I also saw someone like toying around with the idea of like, what if we did like a winter locale, like a ski lodge or something along those lines.
That was my thought. Like, they could be doing in like Colorado or something like that. Or
Yeah.
they'd probably do something like the Alps or something a little more exotic, I guess.
Yeah. But I feel like a ski lodge, like, I feel like there's like good opportunities for like characters to like, you know, like a character could be seated next to someone like on the little, like, I don't know what it's called, like the lift.
Yeah.
Like, you know, characters meet there and then they kind of have like these conversations there, or like, you know, the fireplace in the lodge, like late at night or something like that. I don't know. I feel like there's opportunities, but I don't know. I don't know if they'd ever want to go to a cold climate, because I feel like the last 3 seasons have all been like pretty like moderate to tropical. So
yeah,
maybe they've got that like Adam Sandler, the Gugs grind set.
I was saying that to Kalia, that like, man, that's got to be the best fucking, just like the Fall, like the movie The Fall, except this is ongoing. It's like, you just get to kind of just go places. Like if you're Mike White, you're like, where do I want to get paid to go on vacation this year?
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be a fucking sweet ass gig. So now we're at the point we're at our last. So we got
Final
one more
dud
to go. Yeah. Final dud for the month. Let's see. We'll see if it's
no whammies.
yeah. If it's as like Mac and Me was our wrap up one.
Oh yeah.
For last year, so we'll see if this is you know, of that ilk.
Caliber.
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
this is very fitting. This is a good like kind of
okay.
Because we are revisiting a movie. Well, we're not revisiting the same movie. We're revisiting a filmmaker, because our movie for next week is from 2018, directed by Neil Breen.
Yes.
Twisted Bear.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say Neil Breen. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. That feels good.
Saved by the Breen.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Twisted Pair, watch it before next episode. These episodes come out on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, I am... And with me as always.
As always.
I can't do it with the headphones, yeah.
And I'm Nick.
And yeah, I don't really have anything to quote out of this one, so
don't go into that house, white boy.
Yeah, you need to use your phone.